Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the BDE Racing Solutions YouTube channel. I told you a couple weeks ago when we were doing some filming here around the shop that we would introduce you formally to the Subaru build and give you a little bit more information on it, what it looks like, where it is now, where we plan to go with it. So that's what this video is going to be about. So let's get started. Alright, so this is a 2002 Subaru Forester wagon. I don't know, it belonged to a good friend of Ben's named Devin Merklin. I think it was his sister's car, and at the time Devin had a GMC Yukon with a 5.3 and a 4L60 in it, and I think the Subaru gave up the ghost, so they decided to turn it into a project. As you can see, pretty much stock all the way around except for drivetrain. We can look inside. The interior is pretty much stock. We do have not new carpet. We have carpet for it. There is no such thing as new carpet for a 2002 Subaru Forester. Nobody makes any kind of replacement carpet, and the dealer doesn't have anything either for it. So we found a good donor car at one of the local salvage yards that had some decent carpet in it. That's what we took it from. So that'll be going in soon. We'll look over here. I'll show you the board of what we plan on doing. It's going to get heat and AC put back in it because at my age, I don't want to ride around with no heat or AC. That's just part of being old, I guess. The interior is going to get cleaned up. We're going to try and make all the gauges work. Most of the gauges already work, but we're going to try and see if we can figure out how to make the tach work and the speedometer work. We'll see. Right now, we just monitor it through the Holley system. We're going to look at putting some different wheels and tires on it possibly, and we're definitely going to try and stiffen up the suspension. I know they make some pieces, some floor bracing and some front and rear bracing for some of the newer Foresters. I'm not sure how far back they go on the Foresters, but they make them for the WRXs and the Imprezas. The Imprezas are very similar platform-wise to the Forester. A lot of the things are interchangeable, so we'll see if we can make some of that stuff work. If not, we've got some of the chromoly tubing around here, and we'll just make our own. So we'll get back over here to the car. I'll get the car up in the air in a minute. We'll take a look underneath, and you can see what has and hasn't been done. We've retained most of everything up under the hood that we could. Anybody that's familiar with some of the LS swap stuff, that's the Corvette style, C5 style fuel filter with the internal regulator. If you're looking for some of those, we have those on our website. We have a couple of them left. So if we can help you out with that, let us know. And let's see, we've got some other things we're going to redo since the engine is so close to the firewall back here where the heater hoses used to come through. You can see the grommet. One came through there, another one came through over here. So we're going to redo that under the dash and bring them both out there. And then we will do some AN fittings and AN lines, and we're going to put some AN fittings in our new water pump. We're going to change this water pump over to the 05 to 08 Z06 and the CTSV style, which this pulley will be much thinner. It'll give us some more room. The pulley is only about that wide, and it's very close back to the water pump. So all this will go away and give us more room in here for our fan and to work with. We're going to bend a custom shroud to go across the radiator here to cover this all up. So just some little projects like that to clean it up and make it look nicer, but all that'll happen after we get the AC done and the heat done. We want to get those in place first before we start doing anything else, because those need to be. And we'll go around and we'll take a look inside a little bit more. So as you can see, it is a 5.3 up under the hood, 4L60 underneath. It is running on a Holley Terminator X right now, and that's where we'll keep it. We do have the little small dash here that we keep inside our glove box or inside the console here. Our plans are to remount the Terminator. I'd like to, if possible, mount it in the glove box here. Just lay it right in here like this with our Subaru warranty manual and everything else, but maybe up top here right up in here. So we'll maybe put it up there. I've got some mounting standoffs to mount that up there, and we'll rerun the wiring through the firewall and get everything cleaned up there. But as you can see, the interior is pretty much standard Subaru stuff. So we do have two tunes for this. Right now it's on an E85 tune, because that's what we've put in it last. But it starts up real easy. Excuse me. It starts up easy, it runs great, it idles fine, transmission shifts smooth. Later on, as we progress with this thing, I do think I want to do a 6-liter, replace the 5.3 with a 6-liter. The 5.3 is stock. It's not a lot of miles on it, so maybe later we'll replace it. And when I do that, I'd like to go with a 4L80 also, get rid of the 4L60 just for strength. So the rear end right now is the stock setup back there. I have acquired an R180 rear differential from the Subaru WRX STI. It's a 354 ratio, but it's a lot stronger than what's in it, and it is a positive traction. So we'll work on getting that in. It should mount in without much difficulty at all. I think it will mount just like the differential that's in it now. The mounting is almost exactly the same. So that shouldn't be an issue. Like I did say earlier, we're looking at maybe doing some wheels and tires. We'll look at getting those from Offset Wheel, which is one of the partners on our page. They're down about 3/4 of the way on our website. They do wheels and tires. That's a person that we know very well, actually. Devin, that used to own this car, that's a business that he has. So if you're looking for wheels and tires, check them out. It's OFFFSET. 3 F's. OFFFSET. And they can get you about anything you want. They got such a large selection of wheels that it makes your head spin. So check them out when you get a chance. So you can see the back of the car, a bunch of parts inside. Those are a bunch of the air conditioning and heater parts that I have bought. I had to acquire some of them off of eBay, and then some of them come from salvage yard when I can find a car. This car is difficult to buy things at a salvage yard for, because it is only 98 to 02 is this body style. In 03, a lot of things changed, so none of the air conditioning stuff, none of the heater stuff, none of that stuff will work from an 03 Forester, which looks almost just like this. The back tailgate is a little different. The fog lights are round instead of square, but it's hard to find 98 to 02s in any of the salvage yards around here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this thing up in the air. We'll look underneath it and show you what some of the plans are for underneath, and I'll be right back. So here we go. Sorry, I had to get a light. So here we go. This is the underneath. As you can see, it's a front sump oil pan. The front differential has been removed, but we still have the front Subaru cross member up under. All of the suspension still mounts to that. I do know there's another, I think it's an 04 on a channel. Guy goes by the name of Dumpsteroo, I think is how he pronounces it. He has an 04, and it looks really nice. He's done a really nice job, but front has been cut off. It's tubular and a lot of stuff like that, but he does some of these drag and drive and drag weak and things like that. As you can see, there were stubs are put in for the axles just to keep everything locked together for the brakes and things. And these are notes that my son Ben put on here. The scholarship that we do the fundraising for is in his name. Like I said earlier, he passed away in a car accident on December of 24. But these are his handwritten notes that he left himself, I guess, to make sure he didn't forget things when they were building this car. My plans are I have some clear PPF I'm going to cover these with. I don't know that I'd like to leave them on the car just because they're his handwriting and he built the car, but if I think there's going to be an issue, I'll replace that control arm and keep that one with his handwriting on it. But for the time being, we're going to try and cover that with the PPF. As we go backwards, you can see it's got a 2.5-inch 2-into-1 exhaust, which goes out the back into a stock Subaru muffler all the way out. Here is the rear differential. That's a R160, I believe. Nope, maybe smaller than that. I think that's an R160. We're going to do an R180. We've got the stuff. We just have to get it all put together. I've got to hook the parking brake stuff back up. I'll get that done sooner or later. It's not high on the list. So But overall, it's not in bad shape. Not real rusty. Everything's kind of still got the canister on it. But it's a work in progress. We'll do some cars and coffee. I'd like to participate in some drag and drive events just as a, what do they call it? Just a participant for just viewing. So we'll see how that goes. Not interested in drag racing it or anything like that, but I would like to participate in some of the events just as a viewer. This drive shaft was done by Fleet Pride over in Garner, North Carolina. There, the exhaust was done by R&J Mechanical and Welding in Apex, North Carolina. And I've talked to Devin. I'm going to get some of the earlier videos that he posted of the car when they first put it together and first finished it. And I'm going to post those up so that everybody can see what's happened when it started out life as it is now. Some of the plans, I'm going to remove the cross member here. I do want to trim up around the oil filter a little bit better. That's really, really tight. So I want to trim that back. As you can see, I already have it marked. Trim that back and maybe brace it a little bit more. I am going to make an attempt at trying to space the rack and pinion down slightly. Got a tear there. I'm having to replace the rack right there. But I would like to space it down a little bit to gain a little bit more oil pan clearance there. I'm going to cut that back again some too. I think the oil pan's actually resting on it, so that'll get modified. I'll cut down slightly just to gain a little bit of clearance there. Come down about a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch straight down, and then I'll brace it. And hopefully that will get us to a point where I'd like to lower this motor just a little bit, maybe bring it down, a half inch more. So we'll see how that works out, but I don't know that that'll be possible. We'll see. But you can see how it was cut here and braced right there. I think you can see right there. It's been cut and then braced. And then the same thing has been done over here. There it is. But that is our Subaru. The bracketry on this side is ICT billet. The bracketry that'll go in here, as you can see, there's plenty of room to put a compressor in here. I've already done the measurements and looked and made sure everything will work for the kit from Dirty Dingo. Talked to them already about getting what I need. So that's just a matter of ordering it, getting it put in. First thing I want to do is I want to do the water pump piece here first. Go ahead and get the AC and heat up under the dash done. I'll go ahead and run the AC lines and the heater hoses and everything. So that way, all we would need to do is get the compressor and the bracket, mount it, and build our lines. So hopefully that'll be easy to take care of. I'm thinking about getting some shorty style headers. As you can see, there's plenty of room in here for doing a set of headers. Even here, there's plenty of room to bring the header out the back. Over here may be a little more challenging because of the steering, but I think we can get a little creative with that steering shaft and probably bring it in where we want it. Maybe bring it over closer to the block and bring the exhaust out a little bit, even if we have to modify a set of small short tube headers. I believe the truck, the Silverado headers, would probably fit this pretty well. I've been trying to do a little bit of research on it and see, but I think that's what would work. So we'll see about it, getting a set of those and seeing what we can do with them. So, all right, I'm going to let it back down and we'll take a look at everything else and see, make sure we've got everything covered, and then we'll wrap this up. Thanks. So as we were looking underneath, you can see the ICT billet, even the power steering pump. That's all the ICT billet kit for this vehicle, and I think it called for that water pump, but the Corvette water pump will work with it too. I've called and talked to their tech people, and they verified that that water pump will work. So we're going to change that over. I don't know if I'll do anything else with the intake here. It's not in the way. It doesn't hurt anything. It clears the hood fine. We'll add the air conditioning stuff back in over here. As you can see where the wiring harness goes through, that's the hole for the evaporator. An expansion valve comes through the firewall there. So we'll remount those. We'll bring them in and we'll take them up here over top. We'll mount them there. I've got a bracket that goes in there that's made for bringing the wiring harness for the Hollies through there. So we'll get that done. That'll be part of doing the AC and all too. So we got quite a few projects to do. Doing the water pump and the heating and AC is the biggest part of it, and a lot of them are all part of the same project. So when we do the big AC project, we'll be knocking out a lot of smaller ones at the same time. I also have a dipstick for the transmission to go in there. Right now there's just a plug in there. So we'll be putting a transmission dipstick in there as well. So if you're in the area, Raleigh, Cary, Apex, Fuquay, I'll probably be having this thing out to some of the Cars and Coffee events and things like that. I know there's going to be quite a few events in Rockingham Dragway coming up. We had originally intended this weekend to attend the race at Wayne County Dragway. John Dock was putting on an event there. We were going to meet up with John Dock and talk to him a little bit. We were going to talk to Turbo John out there. If you don't know either one of those guys, John Dock or Turbo John, if you follow cars, I find it highly unlikely that you would be a subscriber to my channel and not know who they are and subscribe to theirs. But if you're not, go subscribe to their channel. Give them some follows. They, a lot of good content from both of those guys. John Dock is doing a lot of pro mod racing, and Turbo John does a lot of racing, a lot of local small tracks, drag racing, and he's got some really nice fast cars. So a lot of good content there. So give him a follow. Turbo John, I've talked to him. He's going to do our reaction time 5 questions as soon as we can get together with him at the race there. That race has been postponed until February the 20th. The weekend of the 20th is when they'll have that race. So we'll get up with Turbo John. He'll do our 5-question survey, and we'll enjoy the weekend and see a lot of good racing. So there's a lot of other guys that are going to show up that Ben was good friends with, that I'm going to feature some cars of theirs. So you'll get to see all those. I'll keep the names under wraps until we have them all filmed and know that they're going to be there. So, all right, guys, well, I'm going to wrap it up. And if you got any questions, shoot them into the comments. I will include in the description, I'll give you the link to Turbo John and John Dock's YouTube channels if you want to check them out. And like I said, if you got any questions about the Subaru, if there's anything we can answer for you, I'll do my best. So just put them in the comments and we'll talk to you then. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.